The Romodi build is very aggressive, featuring a red beam onager, a suppression refit interdictor with a lot of deployment shenanigans, two LTT Architans, and a small squadron deployment of Sienna Re and Valen Rudor. The Dodonna build is much more balanced, featuring a TRC 90 Jaina's Light as the flagship, Bright Hope with Torn Far and Bomber Command Center, Gorell's Honor, an Ordnance NC-75 with Strategic Advisor, and then six squads, Biggs, Dash, Gold, Jan, Luke, and a normal X-Wing. Despite winning the bid, Dodonna chose to go second. I chose from his Surprise Attack, Rift Ambush, and Solar Corona. I chose Rift Ambush because of my Interdictor's obstacle ability. So I deploy both my Architects here at speed 2. You see I have the blue token roughly in the middle there of the board to move obstacles around, and then my Gravwell is at the middle of his deployment area to kind of break things up. And he deploys the Hammerhead there at speed 2, as well as Bright Hope there at speed 2. I throw my Interdictor down at speed 2 because I don't want it being brought down to speed 1. Um, Not really necessary, but I just want to keep, speed 2 available to me if I did want to go speed 2 on my first turn. My Onager goes down at speed 1 because I don't want to go speed 3 after he makes it move, because I had a strong feeling he would make the Onager move. So he throws down his MC-75 at speed 2 as well, and then he threw down his Jaina's Light at speed 3, and set up squadrons here. I think he kind of decided to wait on the squadrons to see where I was going to place everything. He might have also forgotten. Here we go. Here's the UI loaded up. And so here he is placing it, and he goes through it first time, but then before realizing his other ships are a little farther forward. So he's a newer player, so we're being very flexible here as well. I'm a fairly new player myself, and this is my first time playing Rift Ambush, so you see me here reviewing the card over and over again. Um, so because I'm the first player, I get the initiative on the trigger here, so I choose to move the obstacles first because that's the smart thing to do. So I place the debris field or dust field here, so I just wouldn't have to worry about flank from on my onager. And all right, everything's scooched. So he chose my onager to move as expected. So it scooches forward, yaw of 0, based off the rule of the card. And he chose to speed it up to speed 2. So round 1 begins, and he was having some command dial issues, so I had to fix that real quick. And then I pretty much threw nav down on everything, and yeah, here's the command dial stuff. Explaining to him how to make his own. And here we go. So throwing pretty much nav down and everything. I made the comment the game plays itself. Sometimes this is actually one of the times I kind of wish I didn't put a nav on my Architects on speed 2 or on turn 2. Usually I like to do nav nav confire or nav nav nav. And I didn't really account for how big distance 2 from the rift it actually is, as you will find out here. So I flip a nav over and I go up to speed 3, make this move. Just inside, like literally one of the little arms of the rift was inside distance 2, so I just scooch forward, which wasn't too upset with at the time. I do the same thing here, or I do the dial here, but stay at speed 2 to kind of create this crossfire essentially, as well as potentially, allowing me to set up a obstruction on anything that pushes past the rift with my interdictor. He used Strategic Visor for his first activation, by the way, and I am pushing in with, or then began pushing in with his CR90, which had a nav. Uh, Again, this is more us getting used to the objective. He had Jaina's Light, so I was telling him about the Rift and what it did, and then he's like, I don't care, because I have Jaina's Light. And I'm like, oh, that's right, you do. So he parked it there, but because he's Jaina's Light, he can go forward, and I think he ends up scooching straight here, which he thought he had the double arc on the interdictor, I think. I'm not sure exactly what he thought he had the double arc on, but he thought he had a double arc lined up, and so we kind of reviewed what he should have done. I do the interdictor here. I should have maybe double doinked in. Was slow down to speed 1, by the way, with that nav dial. He flipped over a nav dial as well for his hammerhead, and we kind of talk about things here. He's playing with it, looking at the dial. I let him know that he's going to run into the obstacles, and yeah, it's a good turn there. So he moves forward at speed 3, and then he gets the rift move off here, and because he's player 2, he can yaw, and so he's really liking that move. It sets pushes around the asteroid field there, as well as sets up a nasty surprise I wasn't really thinking about because of the rift's secondary ability when you're in distance 1 to 2 of it. So I move the on-anchor forward 1 after slowing down to speed 1 and place the uh, ignition token there because I was like, okay, I can hit pretty much everything here with where I'm at, so I can afford to not activate right away. Moving at speed 2, I was letting him know that there's a solid chance he's going to overlap with a large base. So we move his. He goes down to speed 1 to squeak past, and use that second move there to sloop forward. So right now I'm pretty happy with this because I have some good obstructed shots on the MC75. But again, I didn't really realize how dangerous the hammerhead was. So he was thinking about doing dash to push him forward, but I was kind of telling him dash has rogue. This is how rogue works. Just kind of reminding him how that whole functionality works. So he goes for to push his other squads up out of the way of the GR75. And he just slides right in behind behind his MC75 here, overlapping Gold Squadron, and I put it in the back. I throw Scenery and Valen over just in case. I didn't want anything really jumping on my Onager. In hindsight, I should have maybe put them in front of the Architans, but it didn't really come down to it. I didn't want them to get alphaed. I was okay with splitting the activations out. Um, so we update to round 2 here. Um, I think I throw some more navs down. I think I put a repair down. Actually, no, I think I put repair down on both my big ships here, my medium and my large. And then the Architans both took navs, but yeah. So I flipped my first Architan here because I thought I could do some fun things with it, and this was a mistake. Well, maybe not. So I got 4 damage off because of Romodi here. 3 damage off, I believe, actually. And he braced down to 2 and redirected, which was bold. I do a frontal shot on the Grail's Honor, So it goes down, lost the shield there. So I have a nav dial on the Architon, and even though I'm going speed 3, the Grav Drift still slows me down to speed 2. And because I cannot speed up to speed 4, I cannot escape the front arc of the Grail's Honor, even though I try my darndest and end up taking face up. And then because the Rift makes you move again, I take a second face up damage card. So for the crits here, he didn't really have anything good out of the first four. I would say no structurals or anything, which actually worked out for him. Given the fact he's Dodonna, and not having Dodonna would have cost him. Made him dig through those. So he took disengaged fire control, so I couldn't take obstructed attacks, which sucks because I had Romodi. And then he took structural, which I forgot to take the extra card. But I did remember before, suffering damage from the upcoming ram. Um, so he tries to shoot here my onager out of the side, but then realizes that it is a black die. So he shoots the fronts and opts not to use external Rex on my Arcton. So he's shooting the front of my Arcton with the front of his hammerhead. He rerolls the black die here. He had a confire die, or dial. So yeah, I just redirect the 4 damage there to avoid taking another crit, and well, he scooches forward for a ram at speed 2, so he doesn't move at all. And I pull out the cards here, and then I realize when he picks the structural from this one, I forgot to draw a structural, so he's toast. Boop boop. There's the structural. I read the Rift Ambush rules one more time just to make sure I didn't screw up the movement. And you see there he's got a 61 to nothing lead. But so I'm really glad I activated that Arcton first because if the TRC 90 and the Grail's Honor shot it would probably be dead or something. Maybe the MC 75 and the Grail's Honor shot it. I'm not sure which, but so it still got an attack out and it put that Grail's Honor down to 2 hull remaining after taking 3 rams from the Arcton, so I felt pretty confident. I could relatively ignore the Girl's Honor as long as it wasn't going to ram me. So, I go with the activate with the other Arcton. He's also got a nav. He's taking a stride shot out with 4 dice, reroll 1 with LTT, but it was also blank. He just redirects it, and then I shot the front of the TRC 90 just to make him burn and evade. And I got a crit, I believe, and so he evaded it. So he exhausted the evade there. I slowed down to speed 1, and I was barely inside range, which made me mad because I was hoping to get that Romodi shot off potentially, but it actually kind of worked out because now my Arcton could scooch forward some more. But so he rolls 1 red at my side here. And he did 1 damage to the front or to the side of the interdictor out of the side there. And then he has a confire dial. So he added a blue, and so he didn't do TRC or anything. So I redirect to not suffer any crits here. Granted, I did have contain, but I didn't have to burn the contain, or use the contain. So I'm shieldless there on the front, and he's going speed 4, so he has to make a speed 3 move due to the rift. And because he slides so far out, he will not have to make that secondary move. And honestly, him being speed 4 was really helpful because he kind of slipped in between my two big boys who hadn't gone yet. Uh, the interdictor being the largest medium ship. Um, yeah, so I go with the interdictor here, and I choose not to shoot the hammerhead. I go for the CR90. Got a decent roll there with 2 crits and a accuracy, so I locked down the redirect. Uh, I did a poor job of explaining how exactly Lando works and rerolls work. So I reroll all four, but then I realized, okay, wait, you probably if you actually knew, if I explained this correctly, you wouldn't have rolled that blue accuracy. So it's really two damage, and that you can't redirect. So he just does that. I ram him at speed two after using my nav dial, and we both take face downs, which I'm perfectly okay with. I'm outside the rift range, which I am grateful for, because that thing has screwed me. Granted, I would have been alright with ramming the flagship one more time. So the flagship there has only one damage on it. He rolls an attack on the um, Arcton actually out of the side, obstructed. So I suffer one damage to the side there. And he rams on the asteroid due to, or he slows down to speed. I guess he technically would have been speed zero. But oh, that's right. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So he did a speed two move trying to escape, and that's right. Okay. So he rolls, or I roll my honor attack against the side arc there because I now have that, and since it was weak from the previous arc 10 attack, and it is also obstructed. So I have a pretty good roll here. I think it's 9 damage total. Yes, 9 damage. I really want to swap out that black die, but it was not the case. So he redirects to the rear after bracing, burning the brace, which he spent from the earlier Architon attack, and as well as burning the redirect, which he spent from the second Architon attack, and reduced his rear hull down to zero as it took all the damage on shields, and I used the orbital particle beam crit there to give Bright Hope 2 damage, as well as so most of his squads, pretty much everyone except for the normal X-Wing, I believe, took some damage there. So I had a really good roll there on the front of the flagship from the side arc, and so get it kind of a worthless crit there after he evades the damage, but and redirects. I had 3 damage. He redirected to the interdictor side. Um, and so I had a nav dial, and so I'm trying to use it here, see if I want to scooch forward. But I actually end up going speed zero because I realized, hey, I have 2 shots I really like, and um, I can, slap the front of the flagship one more time, as well as, uh, shoot the side of the MC-75 one more time. So it is a really good time. So he's scooching his fighters forward, or bombers forward here, to bomb my Arc-10. I contained it, so I didn't actually flip anything faced up. Dealt 2 damage there from Gold Squadron. So I'm just showing him the ideal with Luke, but Luke can't even attack any of my shielded ships really. He can attack the interdictor, but even if he got projector misaligned, which is kind of the GOAT crit card in my opinion, it wouldn't be really worth it. So he does deal damage to the uh, Arcton. I burn both my redirect and my contain tokens to suffer less hull. And he so even at 1 hull here, and when he moves up, he actually lands on the rift since it's a speed 1 maneuver due to the rift. So he lands on the rift, slowing down, and he moves again at speed 1. So in theory, he could have made a really, really sharp turn here, but I'm not sure if it was incredibly worth, entirely worth doing that sharp turn. But being speed zero with a flotilla isn't really great since you can't. It's effectively 2 free accuracies there. Um, And here we go. So we're moving into squadron. So I just plopped those bad boys right in front, even though I know Janowars is going to do mean things to me, even after I moved her. Um, well, so he kind of he's trying to like still learn like exactly what all the things do. So um, he's like, oh wait, I want to move Jan first to give him the intel, and it's like, yep, that's perfect. Or to give him the heavy, and so he slides in there with Dash now, who has two rerolls, which with the black die bomber, which is pretty much guaranteed to kill on this Arcton at this point. So after quizzing him on how many rerolls he has, uh, he takes the attack here, and he gets the one damage he needed to kill the Arcton. So um, he scooches the normal X-Wing forward, and that's that. So he's now leading 122 to nothing, and at this point I was pretty nervous. I didn't really like losing both of my Arctons on turn two. So after placing dials, I don't really remember what I placed. I think I placed more. I think I had a repair coming up on my interdictor, and then a nav up on my onager since I had a repair on turn three, or turn four. So I flip over one more nav so I can speed back up. I zap the side out here, dealing a good amount of damage. But I was like, wait, I'll lock one and then intel officer the other. Might as well. And I re-roll. Didn't really get what I was looking for with the black dice. I still had a black blank, so I swapped out the red blank for the black blank on gunnery chief there. Um, and so he took most of that pretty much to the dome ski. And then so I had this roll here. Deal two damage um, to the what's it called? He makes me re-roll the yes. So I deal two damage. Swapped out the blue accuracy for the for the black blank, which I re-roll with ordnance experts, and it missed again. And then he forced me to re-roll the red crit, which re-rolled into a red crit, which worked out really well. Um, I kill his flagship there. I take the two damage there from the debris on the side, and I end up in that spot. His turn, he goes with the hammerhead, I believe, and he's gonna use because the attack was obstructed, he couldn't use the X-Rax, and he ends up using it on the interdictor here, which is outside of distance two of an obstacle. So no Brunson there. So, but I redirect and brace down to three damage, take two on the side and one on the front. And he scooches up there, move stuff all around, and throw dash down. Yep, okay. Um, and then I flip over a nav. Not entirely necessary. A Confire would have been better here, but granted, I didn't really think he was going to fly his flagship straight in front of me. So I shoot I burn my disposable capacitors, shooting the front of or the side of the MC-75. So he was unable to redirect or brace or anything, and it was three damage, just straight up hull, enough to kill it, bring it to nine damage there, and then I do the same thing to the front of the side of the interdictor to the front of the Bright Hope. Even after the damage reduction, it was the perfect two I was looking for because he was at two hull from due to two ignition criticals. Um, and then just rolling some damage here against the squads. So after killing three ships there, It's now 240 to 122, and the Grail's Honor is limping away. And we're just doing the squadrons here. I'm forgetting counter a lot, I know. He whittles down Sienna Ree. Burns the brace before eventually getting her. For the sake of time, we call the game after the third round. So the score is 240 to 139. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see the unedited footage, be sure to click the video link or check out the Armada playlist in my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.